I had sisters who were involved with other types of recitals. He never missed any of those. And no matter what we were doing as kids, anything that was important to us became important to him. And I think one of the cool things that I thought about when I went to St. Scholastica where he taught was that love and respect and admiration that all of us kids had kind of felt as him as a father. I could see that his students and faculty felt for him as a teacher. And so all these positive characteristics, these positive attributes that we've all experienced as children were really, again, when I went to school, I could see that that's how everyone felt about him. And it goes without saying that everyone who knew him was fond of him and loved him. And even as he became sicker, he still was there for each of his kids. Every single time any of his kids would go and visit back at the house, even if he could not walk that entire day, he would make every effort to get out of his chair and come give each of his kids a hug. And for that meant so much to us. For all of us kids, it was something that no matter how many difficulties, all the struggles he had faced, that person who he was still there. And I would say the most important thing is that even towards the end, when he was, unable to always remember that I'm Vinnie and that's Jason and that's Daniel, is that he still didn't like the New England Patriots. So, he didn't like Tom Brady, and that meant more to us kids. And I think the last note is just that the last message that I had gotten from him, which meant so much to me, is that, and it was difficult to hear this, but I was on the other side of the world during a lot of this time, and he had sent a message via video saying that not only he loved me, but he can't wait to see me again. And now I look at this and I think that I can't wait to see him again either, because I know that when that happens, it'll be in a far better place. So for that, I'm so grateful for who he was.
Very nice.
Hello, for those of you who don't know me, which is everybody except for the people in this front row. I'm Jason. I'm David's oldest son from California. Vinnie stepped on the toes of a lot of what I was going to say, so I'll try and add it up here. There's a few stories I have about Dad. One of the earliest stories I have is as you know, he loved to camp, and just me and him went one time. And I was about 10 or 11 years old, and those of you who know, Dad used to love his cigars. And we were camping, and he said, and I'm going to rat you out right now, Dad, I'm sorry. Son, this is for you, and do not tell your mother. So I just did, so that's out of the bag now. And there was one time, just to kind of show his selflessness, I was in California, and I was doing, let's just say, some bad things. I was on the wrong path of life, and he did not hesitate for 1 second to stay. He had to get off work and fly out to California, which in the last minute, was not a cheap ticket. And he did not hesitate. He did not tell me he was coming. I was out on my porch having a drink, and I see him walk up, and I thought I had drank way too much because Sir just walk up. But that just showed that he didn't care. He came up, he sat down, he said, "I know what you're doing, and I love you, son, and I will never, ever stop, and no matter what you need, I'm here for you every second of every day." And that was a really great story. And the last is when he was with me at my wedding. And he was just talking to everybody, introducing the people he didn't know, and dancing, which I never even knew he knew how to do, even when he was healthy. And at the end he said, "This was one of the greatest times I've ever had. I'm so proud of you, son, and I'm so grateful that I got to share that moment with him. And I love you, Dad, and I'll miss you, and thank you."
I'm pretty sure I know everyone here, but my name is Madeleine. And being the person that I am, I deleted my entire note just now. So I'm going to go off the top of my head. But obviously I want to thank everyone for coming here today. A few memories that I want to share about my dad is the first Saturday of every month, we would go to Home Depot and we would build like mailboxes, everything that you could do. And I remember we would be the first ones there, and I'd jump on him in bed at like 8 o'clock and say like, we have to get there, we have to get there. And it would go till like 4. So he would give up his entire day just to spend time with me. And I remember usually we would leave with about a bruised thumb or 2, but he was always pretty good at making the best of it. When it came to sporting events, he made sure that just because I was a dancer doesn't mean that I didn't have the tomboy side of me. So I would go to every Saints hockey game with him. And people would stop by, all the students, and they would just hug him and say like how grateful they were. And at that time, you know, I just thought they were all Dad's friends. But now I look back and I can see how many people loved him. Being the last child, though, sorry guys, I could always convince him to get me hot chocolate and popcorn and anything I wanted, and or stop by and get a Blizzard on the way home was also our favorite. Another thing that I want to share is we used to plant flowers in the spring. Every spring we'd go to Home Depot, or we'd go someplace, and we would just spend hours there picking out any type of colorful flower. And I remember I would watch him, we'd listen to country music and sit out in the sun. And eventually when he grew a little bit weaker, it was me that would be planting him. And I remember if I didn't do it right though, I would definitely get a slap on the wrist and a ton of sass from him for not doing it right. So I just wanted to share a couple of those memories, and I really want to thank my dad for being there for me, and I'll miss him, and I can't wait to see him again. Thank you.
Sorry, we're all taking turns up here. Since I'm the shortest one, I'll lower this down a little. I did not delete all my notes, so that's good. I did write them here all. So I am Dave's oldest daughter, oldest child actually, I say that. I beat Jason by a couple months. 27, you're the oldest? 27, I know. Maybe 29 this year. 29. It's still up in the air. We're trying to decide. Unlike most of other dad's kids, Daddy actually came into my life when I was 4. He was a very accepting and loving father, and as a natural teacher, he taught me quite a bit. For example, some of those things were, he taught me how to fold towels in thirds. He taught me the best way to make scrambled eggs was low and slow. And of course, cook the breakfast meat first so the eggs would have a better flavor. One of those things moms didn't really approve of. I was the first kid he taught to drive, and after I rear-ended Mom on the way to Lake Tahoe, I'd be the last. He also expanded my vocabulary in, let's say, a very colorful way. Another thing Mom wasn't too happy about. When the family moved to Duluth and I came to visit, Dad continued to set aside special time to visit with me. He was always interested in what was happening in my life. And while he was never a phone person, I knew that whenever I called, Mom would put me on speaker, or she would at least relay whatever it was that was happening at that particular point in time. Dad would usually have, well, not usually, he would always have something direct and blunt to say in the matter, and he's definitely the reason I most likely offend the people with my direct truth. Sorry, not sorry. All those times and memories I have of Dad will always be remembered and cherished. He was an accepting and caring person, and I'll remember everything he taught me. He wasn't everything I didn't know I needed in a father and wouldn't have received from anyone else. I just want to say thank you for everyone for coming, and I love you, Dad.
Hang on, I gotta put this farther back up. Thank you, Marisa, for crying so I wouldn't be the first one. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Veronica. I'm a middle child, consummate middle child, actually. As part of that, Dad and I sometimes had a difficult relationship growing up because I was a middle child and because I'm a difficult person, and because Dad and I had a lot in common, way too much. We even shared the same birthday. Wow. When Mom found out she was pregnant, I don't think I was due on the 26th. But I was due on the 15th, and she said, "No, Dad, you're gonna have a birthday gift this year." But through through all of it, I mean, we had a chance to get so much closer after I graduated from high school, well, or after I turned 18, and after I calmed myself down a little bit and became a little bit of a nicer person. He and I really had a much better relationship that was just amazing. You know, he would sometimes say, so my mom, obviously she stayed home and she homeschooled all of us, and my dad was a professor, so we weren't rolling in tons of money. And he would sometimes say, you know, he called me Vern, he's the one who started that, thanks Dad. He'd say, you know, Vern, I'm sorry that we couldn't pay for your law school tuition. I'm sorry that we can't pay for, you know, to get a brand new car. And I would always just laugh at him because I said, Dad, you don't realize that you're teaching me so much that, I mean, not only how to have a good credit score on my own, but also, you know, how to manage my own checkbook, which I'm still not good at, sorry Dad. But he taught me how to be a loving and supportive parent. I'm not a parent, but, you know, should that ever happen, he taught me how to do that. You know, I was telling Diane Kessler right before this, one of his colleagues, that we always knew that it didn't matter what we wanted to do. You know, both of my parents are brilliant, hard workers. They didn't care if we went to college. They wanted us to be happy. They wanted us to be, if we were going to live at home, we had to be working or going to school. But they didn't care where we were working, as long as it was legal. They just wanted us to be happy. That was it. They are the single most supportive people that I could have ever asked for in parents, and I told him that. One of the things that we never, ever doubted growing up was his love for us. And I told him these stories in his last hours in the hospital about how he used to march in the Nevada Day Parade in Carson City and in his fatigues, and he would always break rank. Even if he was holding the flag, he would break rank and he would come over and kiss all of his kids. And he used to take me